And a good spiritual morning to you once again. I'm Father Cosmas. Thanks for joining me today for a quick chat and, of course, our morning cup of coffee. And so I wanted to continue our conversation from last time as I'm reflecting back on the church tours that I was able to give over the weekend, because it was really a blessing to interact with literally hundreds of people. And another thing that I was struck by is just the reaction of people unfamiliar with the Orthodox Church when they walked into the church for the first time. They were just awestruck. We're blessed to have a very beautiful church, as many Orthodox churches are. Very ornate, very beautiful places of worship. And people were just blown away. They opened the door, they walked in, and immediately their first question is, can I take pictures? Can I take video? And boom, the camera comes up and they're snapping pictures and taking video because they're just amazed at how beautiful the space is. And so I thought about that. Of course, something that I take for granted. But why do we do that? Why is the space like that? Why are Orthodox churches so beautiful and so ornate? And there's a practical reason. Again, everything that the church does makes sense, at least I think it does, and it's practical. So this is something that's been developed over centuries. Why is it like that? Well, because practically it helps us. What is it helping us do? It's helping us engage and focus when we worship, right? So a very fundamental question I'll pose to you. Why do you go to church? What's the purpose of going to church? Hopefully you're going to say something to do with God, something to do with Christ. Hopefully your first answer is not fellowship, is not tradition, is not culture. Hopefully your first response is Christ. I go to church for Christ. I go to church to pray. I go to church to worship. I go to church to get closer to God. I go to church for these reasons. All of those reasons, the most important ones, well, they take some sense of attention span, right? Because the service isn't 2 minutes long. It's an hour long, at least. And so you go to church and you're good for 3 or 4 minutes, then what happens? Your mind starts to wander a little bit, and you've got to refocus. Well, that's harder to do if you're staring at a blank wall, or a plant, or a piano, or a window. But if you see an icon of Christ, an image of Christ, of the resurrection, of the Virgin Mary, of a saint, it helps me, oh, this is what I'm here to do. Pay attention. Come on. Refocus. This is where we're at in the service. Pay attention. It engages us, right? And that's what we're trying to do in our worship is remain focused and engaged, and to refocus and re-engage, because we're supposed to be stimulated in our worship, right? Participating. That's why we go to church, to participate and to be part of the ecclesia, the assembly, the gathering. And that's why the services are organized in the way that they are. You walk in and you see these beautiful images, beautiful colors, beautiful carving, the priest's vestments, right? You smell the incense, the flowers, you smell things that you don't smell. You hear the Byzantine music, the Byzantine chant, things you don't hear other places. You see things, you smell things, you hear things. The whole person and all of the senses are stimulated so that we remain engaged in our worship. And that was something that I tried to get across to the visitors and the guests during the tours, because they were sort of dumbstruck by just the amount of color and ornate decoration in the space. But it's practical. And it also, though, for us as Orthodox now, it's telling us something. And I think this is the point that I wanted to get across for today's video, that when we come to church and we're trying to participate in the service, we're worshiping the service, we need, as much as we can, to remind ourselves why we're there, and to make sure that how we behave reflects that. In other words, we should be participating, right? And that's okay. We've adopted this very militant approach in the West, where we come to church, as soon as we walk in, don't say anything, be quiet. Maybe don't even go in because it's not the time. Now you come in. Now find your seat. Now sit down. Now don't move. And don't say anything. Just listen. Listen to the priest. Listen to the chanter. Listen to the choir. And then come up, if you're going to come up. When we tell you to come up, get communion. Don't move anywhere else. Go get it. Now sit back down. Now come up, get your bread, now leave. And we don't want to hear anything out of you. And I wonder sometimes if that's really worship, if that's really a way of engaging our people. Because there should be some freedom in what we're doing. You want to go kiss an icon, go kiss an icon. It's okay. If you want to make a prostration, make a prostration. If you feel like kneeling down and praying, kneel down and pray. It's okay. If you want to cross yourself, cross yourself. If you want to go light a candle, go light a candle. And also, guess what? If you want to sing, sing. If you want to chant, chant. If you want to pray, pray. Yes, we let people say the Lord's Prayer out loud, and we let them say the Creed out loud, but that's it. Everything else is being done for them, and they're just passively participating. And that's really not the way the services were designed. We're all supposed to be participating. We're all supposed to be singing and chanting. Every Amen, every Lord have mercy, every hymn. If we know it, why aren't we singing it? Why are we embarrassed? And we shouldn't be that way. We should come to church to worship, to pray, to be engaged, to participate. And that's the main point that I'm trying to get across. When you go to church, participate. People say, I go to church, Father, and I don't feel like I get anything out of it. And I don't blame you for not getting anything out of it, because you're not doing anything. You're not putting anything into it. You're going and you're standing in silence for an hour. That's hard. It's okay to actually verbalize your faith. When the choir is singing, Holy God, Holy Mighty, Holy Immortal, I'm guessing you know the words. Sing it. Why not sing it with them? When the priest is offering a prayer and leading a prayer, you can follow along and you can pray the prayer. There's certain ways that we have to recognize we participate in the worship, and that's okay, and that there's some freedom in that, and that we need to be welcoming people and encouraging them to do that, because it is so incredibly important. And that's the way that we get closer and closer to Christ, and we do that through our prayer and worship each and every day. Amen.